Hello and welcome to Experience with Jenny, a channel where I teach you everything about customer experience in a fun, engaging way. Let me tell you if this video is for you. Are you a new customer experience professional navigating the world of experience? Are you a customer experience manager new to the role? Or maybe existing manager, but you're trying to, gain new insights and experience? This channel is for you. So like, follow, and share. Remember those days in school where no matter what you wrote, your lecturer still gave you somewhere between 75 and 80. And when you showed all your justifications, they'll simply say, 100 is for God, though, 95 is for my ancestors. That was our experience growing up in Nigeria. And guess what? You find that in the professional space. You have customers saying so many beautiful things about your brand, but when it comes to rating, they still rate you between an 8 or they give you a 7 or, something like that. Guess what? In the world of NPS, that rating does not count. Today, we will discuss NPS, a very important concept in customer experience. So come with me if you like to learn everything about NPS, from initiation to engagement to deployment and analyzing. Okay, NPS simply stands for Net Promoter Score. It's a very important metric recognized globally for rating your customers' perception and let me say love for your brand. Net Promoter Score is a type of survey that asks one magic question, and the question simply says, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how likely are you to recommend my brand, you put the name of your company, to your family and friends? So your customers are just going to get random messages or notifications asking them that one simple question: on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend this brand to your family and friends? Now the customers are expected to pick a rating between 1 to 10. Now, here is where it gets very interesting. Any customer that picks between 1 to 6 is considered a detractor. It means that that customer is not feeling your brand and will not be recommending your brand to anybody, regardless of what they write. That is the meaning of 1 to 6. Now, any customer that picks between 7 and 8, those customers are regarded as passives. In the world of NPS, they do not count. They are neither hot nor cold. So they are not feeling your brand and they are not angry with your brand either. So they're just passives and they do not count. But any customer that rates you between 9 and 10, those are your promoters. Those customers are happy with your brand and they would most likely recommend you to their family and friends. Now, how is the NPS calculated? It is not as simple as that. Many people have argued that it is very unfair, but that is how you get to know who your true promoters are and how loved your brand truly is. So when you're done with your NPS score, this is how it is calculated. Your detractors are subtracted from your promoters. Yes, so let me give you a quick example. 10 customers take your NPS survey, and out of those 10, let's say 3 customers rated you 1 to 6. Those are detractors. Another, let's say 2 customers rate you 7 and 8, or let's say another 3 customers rate 7 and 8. Those are passives. And then, so you have 4 more customers here. So those 4 customers rated you between 9 to 10. So your score is not 40%. No. To calculate the NPS, the 3 customers that were detractors would be subtracted from your promoters. So it's going to be 4 promoters minus 3 detractors. So you have 1. So you're going to have 1 over the total number of respondents times 100. So your NPS score from this particular survey we just described would be 10%. And yes, it is very possible to have a negative NPS rating. It happens all the time. And sometimes you may just have a 0 NPS rating where your promoters are exactly the same as your detractors. Yes, so that is how NPS is rated. Why is the NPS survey important? Well, aside from the fact that it is a globally recognized metrics for measuring your customers' level of satisfaction, brands like, or let me say leaders like Jeff Bezos, I think I watched one of his videos from about 10 or 15 years ago where he said something very significant. He said, at Amazon, we do not obsess over competitors. We know what they're doing, yes, but we do not pay so much attention to them. We pay attention to our customers. He was saying this about 15 years ago. Yeah. And then we didn't know how big Amazon was going to be. But he made it clear that they were obsessed about their customers. And metrics like NPS, if you follow them closely, they would help you understand, your customers and how they truly perceive your brand. Trust me, for a customer to rate you 9 or 10, that customer truly perceives your brand to be something good. And by the time you subtract your detractors and you ignore your passives, of course, you're not ignoring them in real life. I'm saying in written, it then tells you what the health of your brand is in terms of customer perception and satisfaction. NPS is very good because your promoters are most likely going to help you grow your brand. You spend a lot less money when customers recommend your brand than when you're trying to gain new customers. And detractors, they bring you problems. So you want to avoid them as much as possible. Or you want to make sure that your customers are not detractors, not necessarily avoiding your customers. How to conduct the NPS survey? Yeah. So in conducting your NPS survey, it is very critical that you have a pre-engagement session with relevant stakeholders within the organization. So as customer experience, you don't just want to go ahead and deploy the NPS survey. That's one meeting you would hold with stakeholders within your organization, maybe like stakeholders in product management, maybe technology, maybe projects or brands, just key stakeholders, sales, very important. Bring them together in a meeting and explain to them that we are about to conduct our quarterly NPS or our half-year NPS for the period. The idea is that we want to understand, where we stand in the face of our customers. Yeah. So that process is very critical. And to an extent, you also want to know, are there some critical to quality questions they want to get from customers or feedback? So here's what I mean. In deploying that question to your customers, yes, I earlier said it is a 1 question on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend us? Yeah. But then depending on what the customer chooses, if a customer chooses between 1 to 6, you can then ask the customer a follow-up question to say, please, can we know the reason for your rating? What would you like us to improve on? Now, some organizations would allow the customers to type, just give them text boxes to just type as they wish. Now, some organizations, in addition to the text boxes, can provide, options. Yeah. So is it our rate you don't like? Is it our prices? Just like some categorizations where customers can check to say, these are the things that we do not really like. So in those stakeholder engagements, you can get some of those options from stakeholders. Stakeholders say, I feel like they don't really like what we did to this product. You can include that as an option so customers can check so that you know why exactly they are detractors. Same as promoters, when they rate you your 9 or 10, you ask them, we would like to know why you rated us this. What is it that we're doing very well? Or what do you like about the brand? Now you can give them an open box to type, and you can also give them, check boxes to also check, these are the things that they really love about the brand. So something like that. And those are the things you have to consider while carrying out your NPS. And then your data, it's important. So what that engagement with stakeholder does for you is that it builds an anticipation with the stakeholders and you get their buy-in. So by the time you're done with the survey and you have feedback from customers, it's easier for you to go back to a product team to say, these are what the customers have said after this exercise. Because from beginning, they were involved. Yeah. They were, they're anticipating. And now that the feedback has come, it's very easy for them to jump on it and fix the issues. Yeah. Now, in terms of your data is also very important in NPS. Make sure your NPS is not skewed to one direction. So if you're a multi-product organization, for instance, you give loans, you do investments, you do cards and some other things, you don't want to have, let's say, 90% of your feedback coming from your loan customers or your investment customers. So you want to make sure that you gather data of all customers from the different segments. That's number one. And even within the segments, you might want to break it down further. So for customers that are your loan customers, some of those loan customers are first-time customers, yeah? And some of them are probably returning customers. They've taken a loan before and they've come back, So you want to break down the data to get equal representation of your different business segments so that at the end of the day, whatever score you have as an organization in a global view gives you a balanced position for that organization. And when you want to delve deep into your data, you know where your problems are coming from. Yeah, because when you do those analyses, you may realize that your loan customers may have given you a 90% NPS score, whereas your investment customers may have given you a 20%. So it begins to guide, your analysis, and you know where the problems are and you know where your customers prefer. So your data segmentation is very important in deploying your NPS. So these are the things that you might need to prepare before you deploy your NPS. Deploying your NPS survey. So in deploying your NPS survey, that is where your channel comes in. and your tools coming. Now, channels, emails, basically, you find lots of organizations deploying NPS via email. However, it depends on the kind of organization that you are. Now, if your organization is very automated, you can automate your NPS into your application such that after certain transactions, after certain interactions, customers get the prompts on a scale of 1 to 10. How likely are you to recommend us? However, if you do not have that in place and you have to do that manually, you can use an email deployment tool to deploy your NPS. Now, we also have what's it called, some organizations that their customers are not very learned. So in those organizations, you may want to deploy via SMS and include the NPS link in your SMS. Yeah. So that also helps. And a lot of customers, especially in Nigeria, they respond to SMS better than emails. And then calls is the last channel for NPS deployment. You can have your contact center reach out to your customers via call. Now, a teaser for some brands, you may want to spice things up by having some sort of reward to say, take our survey to stand a chance to win this, and make sure that you reward the customers if you are going to promise that. Now, in terms of the tools for NPS deployment, you can, if you do not have the resources, you can go as basic as SurveyMonkey. I think even a Google form, yeah, if you're that, but the problem with those kind of tools is because of data privacy. So if you're a structured organization, you can pay for like a premium access for SurveyMonkey so that you can use that. There are tools like Statmetrics, but they are quite expensive, but your organization may be able to afford that. And then there's also a tool like Xcali. Xcali is a bit more affordable. And one thing I like about those tools is that they give you this dashboard view. Yeah, so as your responses are coming in every day, you can see the number of respondents, you can see the promoters, the detractors real time, you can see the comments as they're coming in, so you can easily engage with your customers. Now, very important is detractor engagement. While you're deploying your survey, the moment you have a detractor, you should have a tool that immediately notifies you via email or whatever channel to say you have a detractor. So you need to quickly reach out to those customers and resolve their issues. Not because they'll be changing their scores, but because those customers who have taken time to complain, those customers are your real customers. So you need to quickly fix their issues to get them to become promoters, at least in the next survey. So that's very important. Please remember to subscribe and like my channel, follow and share. Okay, so now we're speaking about post NPS deployment. What do you do with the feedback and the data that you've received? I mean, it can be a lot, yes? So the data have, the responses have all come in, and now you have the data. So one of the very easy things you can quickly do is analyze by your promoters, your detractors, and your passives. See what your promoters like about your brand, see what your detractors do not like, and see what your passives are complaining about. Again, analyze by your business types. Like I said earlier, okay, what are the loan customers talking about? And even with the loan customers, the brand new customers, are they happy? Do we have our existing customers, our returning customers happier than our new customers? So you can break down these analyses and just have your NPS scores and summaries for each. Yeah, so that's how you break down and analyze your NPS so that at the end of the day, you have a clear report that clearly shows, okay, this is your company's NPS score, yes? But then these are, the key findings. These are what our customers liked. These are what they didn't like, and we need to fix. Now, you need to conduct what we call a voice of customer analysis, VOC. Now, your customers' feedback will pour in. Customers will give feedback based on how they perceive the feedback. But then you need to then analyze those feedback one after the other so that you can categorize them into what is actually wrong. What example can I give? So, for instance, a customer might give an example to say, oh, I'm not happy because my loan was delayed for 3 days. But then if you take that particular customer's details and you run an analysis backend, you may find out that the reason that customer's loan was delayed was because there was a downtime on maybe the payments application. So the real problem that you would then categorize will be payment application downtime. The delay in disbursement is the result of the problem. But in trying to solve the problem, what you need to solve for is the delay. is the downtime in the application. Another customer may complain about delayed disbursement, but when you do your investigation, you may find out that that disbursement got delayed because the sales agent did not even initiate the application on time. Now, this information is not available to the customer, but you would find that when you're doing your own analysis. So in categorizing that particular issue, you would categorize it under delayed application initiation by sales agent. So by the time you're done with this voice of customer analysis, so you're analyzing each customer complaint one after the other, and you're checking at the back end to see what actually affected each customer. So at the end of the day, you have a set of categories that you've created yourself, and then you begin to check the numbers of each category. What is the volume of system downtimes that I have found out? What is this volume of delayed application by sales agents? So that way, you now have your core root causes. You now have the real issues that have emanated from the voice of customers. That is where prioritization then comes in. How many of those issues, which of the issues affected customers more? Which of the issues affected customers less? Which ones should we focus on such that if we resolve these issues right now, we are very sure that 80% of our customers will be happier. So that is exactly what you need to do when you're done with your NPS. And so when you're done with all of this, you now have one report that shows the scoring, the distribution by products and everything, and then the voice of customer analysis that produces the pain points. And a lot of times, the pain points you may have may not be more than maybe 4 or 5 key pain points. Now, those are now the pain points you need to take to the business units. Can be the product team, can be the brands team, technology. Then that is where the main work is, to make sure that those pain points are fixed to ensure customer satisfaction. Okay, so detractor management and promoter engagement. So your detractors, you're already engaging them, you're managing them, and once you have any of their top pain points that have been resolved, do well to send communications to them and probably all your customers to say, this has been fixed or this is now available. That is very important. Now, for your promoters, please do well. Anytime you have a referral program or scheme and you're seeking data of who to contact, those are the first set of people you would contact because they will naturally refer you. You can also get like customer success stories from your promoters. Yeah. Because a lot of them would speak freely about the value they've gotten from your brand. So they're very important, and the way you manage them is very critical. Making NPS an organizational culture. So for most organizations, today, they have NPS as a key metrics in all staff appraisal, because it has been seen that NPS is not the result of what customer experience did or one department. Is a result of what everyone has done within the organization. So in order to make sure that the organization is very much interested in customer experience, and to also make sure that people, at the back of their mind somewhere when they're doing what they're doing, they kind of remember the customers. When they realize that, oh, this NPS is going to hit my KPI, somehow everybody is put in check. And so one of the NPS reports you may also want to deliver post NPS rating is maybe NPS by locations, NPS by regions, or what did the region, the northern region customers say? What did the southern region customers say? Things like that. So these things actually bring about a culture of experience within the organization. And please, post NPS engagement meetings, and interactions with the business, and make sure to share your NPS scores with all staff. Make sure to share the key learnings from your NPS, both the good learnings, the success stories. A lot of customers will say many things like, oh, this organization really helped me in my lowest point. Those kind of stories, you want to share them with all staff so that they would see that their work is being valued and appreciated. In the same way, you want to share the negative feedback, and in sharing those negative feedback, make sure to go in depth, into what caused that customer's pain point. So customer may have said, oh, I lost a lot of money because of X delay. But in sharing that story within the organization, you may want to say to the organization that because on so day, there was a delay in this, and within the organization, this happened and that happened. This was the ripple effect on a customer. Yeah. and this is the customer's feedback. So it kind of puts everyone in check, yeah, such that when they're doing what they're doing and they want to like take it lightly, somehow in their minds they remember that, oh, this may actually affect a customer, and I do not want a company-wide negative NPS story that can be traced back to my desk. Yes, so that is very important. All right, so I hope you've learned one or two things about the NPS survey. I'd like to know what you think. Do you think the rating metrics is very stringent? Do you think it's useful? Have you conducted NPS before? What do you think about it? And how do you think your organization perceives the NPS survey? Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe and like my channel. Follow for more. Bye.